Mr. Happy Living here, and I'm happy to be broadcasting from WITV7 in the beautiful Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina, USA. Hey, friends, please join me for a minute and just imagine how great you'd feel living the unique and distinct life you were put on this planet to live, doing work you love, with people you love, in places you love, and all the while creating something of real value to others. That's what I call a life of significance. And I can tell you it makes for a very happy life. And so can my friend Mira Dessy. They call her the ingredient guru. She's my guest star today, and she's here to share her unique and distinct journey to her life of significance. Hey, Mira, welcome to the show.
Hi, Matt. It's so good to see you and to be here with you.
Thank you. Why don't you get us started by telling us what you're doing these days to make your mark of significance on the world?
Oh, wow. Thanks. I think the biggest thing that I'm doing right now is that I have started a membership group so that I can have a repository for my classes, my programs, handouts, ebooks, etc., so that people have a one-stop place where they can come and get the information that I have amassed over the last almost 20 years of being in the holistic health and wellness industry.
Awesome. And that's called the kitchen table. Is that right?
It is called the kitchen table, yes.
Very good. And how's that going?
It's going well. You know, part of the kitchen table and the part that is the most fun is that we have two live meetings every month. And people really seem to enjoy it. One is a preparedness pantry call where we come on and we learn stuff about preparedness and what people really need to know. And the other one is the holistic wellness call. But it's just always fun to have people coming together. You know, I teach for like 15 to 20 minutes and then I just answer questions, which is something that really ignites my brain cells because I love sharing and helping people. And this way I have a direct connection with the people who are in the group.
Yeah, that's really funny. We haven't seen each other. It's probably been 4, 5, 6 years. And just last year, I did a similar thing. I started a group called Privately Inspired People, and we're meeting twice a month. And very similar notion. I do a little bit of teaching, but it's about discussion and engagement and encouraging each other. So it's pretty fun. I was happy to hear that you've started something as well. Awesome. So, Mira, let's do a little mathematics so our friends all around the World Wide Web can get to know you through our happy formula. It's
Right.
really simple, but very powerful equation. It goes like this: power plus purpose equals happy. So let's start with power. What are your personal practices for building up all the power you need to get things done, whether it's physically, mentally, financially, spiritually, emotionally? In other words, Mira, what do you do on a regular basis to create all the power you need to take really good care of yourself and your loved ones and still have plenty left over so you can be a giver to others?
That is such a great question, Matt. You know, for me, I think it comes down to three things that if those get out of balance and out of whack, I'm struggling a little bit to feel like I'm in control of what's going on. And the first thing is self-care. I have learned over the years that if I don't take time for myself, whether it's journaling time or reading time or quiet time or something, I'm just not doing as well. Number two is time in my garden. As a matter of fact, I just spent my entire weekend. Friday, I went and bought all my plant starts. Saturday, we went and got dirt and all the other things that we needed. Sunday, we planted so many things. And then today, when I'm done talking to you, I'm going to go plant the seeds because I do part starts, part seeds. And then I just go out and spend time every day in my garden. So that's number two. And then the third thing that I do that's really very nourishing and supportive for me is cooking for people I love because just making food for other people makes me happy.
Yeah, that's really great. All right, Mira. So let's dive into my favorite power generating concept. It's called a Kaizen state of mind. And it's this beautiful Japanese idea that small incremental improvements add up over time to yield great big results. And I love it, Mira, because it's based on mindset, not circumstance.
Yeah.
Kaizen life is knowing there's always something I can do better tomorrow than today. It creates an optimistic, gentle, but powerful and continuous uplifting of my day, of my life, day after day after day. So, Mira, how does Kaizen in your life help you increase your power to continuously become more so you can continuously give more?
You know, it's so funny because I wasn't familiar with that word before, but that concept has been a presence in my life for a very long time. Because many, many years ago, before I was the ingredient guru, I was on a completely different career path. I was a database administrator for an international research firm, and
Mm,
I got very ill. I wound up having an immune system collapse,
mm,
and I as I began to learn how to reclaim my health and discovered that food was a huge part of the equation, I also realized that those tiny incremental steps over time led up to huge and powerful change.
yep,
And I think, you know, unfortunately, in our culture, we're given this myth that says, pow, do it now, like everything all at once. And that leaves us feeling like we're somehow deficient or behind if we can't do that. But when we make one small change at a time and we master that before we move on to the next thing, you look back 3 months, 6 months, 5 years later, and it's like, whoa, how different are things now?
yep.
So I agree, it's really about those tiny steps.
That's Kaizen. I've added something to it. I learned the word 30 years ago. And it's just, I said, wow, that's it. All of us can do that. But I've added to it Kaizen and hold. So, and you mentioned that once you master something, just use weight loss as an example. You get down to your desired weight, hang on to that for dear life. Do not let it go back up because it's easier to hold it than it is to correct it. And then
Yeah.
Kaizen and hold and hold and hold. All of a sudden, as you say, you look back and your life has just transformed slowly but surely.
And I'd also like to add one more thing, which is Kaizen and hold and appreciate. Because I think
Ah,
one of the other things that happens is once we master something, we think, oh, that's easy. What's next? Like
yep,
we're always focusing forward. And
yep,
I'm frequently reminding people when I work with them, let's look back and see how far you've come. So there
yep,
needs to be that appreciation factor as well.
100%. All right, well, let's explore purpose. That's the second element of our happy formula. And I've observed, Mira, that the big major life transformations and discovery of purpose often come from devastation, addiction, abuse, disease, death, disaster. Some awful thing strips a life to its core, resulting in some great big change. However, in my book, Turning Inspiration into Action, I share the transformational process that I've used to discover my purpose using inspiration. So, how about you, Mira? Was there a specific moment or event or a crisis or inspiration that revealed to you the purpose you were meant to live?
Yes. And the funny thing is, it wasn't an all at once thing. It was a gradual realization, and it was my immune system collapsing. I was so ill, Matt. I literally could not walk up a flight of stairs without having to lie down on the landing, even if I was going to bed. I had
Mm,
3 kids, and I had to choose between doing the laundry or making dinner for my kids because that was about all the energy I had. I was living my life on the sofa, and I had a lot of different doctors. I was under their care. I had a lot of different medications, and I wasn't getting better.
mm,
Over time, as I began to develop more of an awareness of how I could participate more actively in my own healthcare, and as I slowly, incrementally began to become better, I discovered this passion for nutrition education, which is my third career. And I feel
mm,
like this is who I'm meant to be. This is what I'm meant to do. But I also recognize, because at one point I was sitting there thinking, man, why didn't I find this, 30 years ago? Think
yeah,
of how much further I could be in my career, whatever, whatever. But what I realized is without having gone through that health crisis and that challenge, the emotional, physical, spiritual change that I had to go through to
yeah.
be where I am now, I don't think I would be as passionate and committed to what I do.
Yeah, How,
So
how,
I'm
how long
grateful
ago?
for that challenge.
Yeah. How long ago was that?
So my immune system collapse was around 2004.
And how long was it collapsed? How long were you really sick?
So I began to reclaim my health around 2006, so almost 2 years.
Wow. And how
But I
overwhelmed?
was really sick before then. Like the thing is, I didn't realize how sick I was getting. I was having more and more and more health problems. So it was probably a 10-year process of becoming ill before everything finally went bluey.
You know, so I have two questions about that. How overwhelmed did you feel when you were in the midst of the awfulness of your
Oh,
sickness?
oh man, it was, sorry, I didn't think I was going to cry. It was so hard. I felt betrayed by my body. I
Hmm.
felt ashamed that I didn't have the energy to take care of my kids. I I had a really hard time learning how to ask for help.
Yeah,
Even though I couldn't do things, I didn't want to admit that I couldn't do anything. Like it was really a struggle.
yeah.
And and it's part of what allowed me later on, once I began to work with clients and everything, to really advocate for them and support them because I've been there. I know, and it doesn't matter if your health challenge is different than my particular health challenge, knowing what it feels like to be in that depths of despair and to have a doctor say to you, maybe you should just talk to someone. Like we don't know what the answer is. So clearly the answer must be that you have some kind of a mental health imbalance. And like it was really, really challenging. And you feel so overwhelmed and unheard and invisible.
What was the catalyst? When did you really feel like you found hope and you knew there was going to be a solution to this?
Yeah. So for me, what I define as my pivotal moment was this one week where I had two medical appointments in the same week. And my joke now, at the time it was not funny, now it kind of is, was if there was an ist, I had it. Gastroenterologist, rheumatologist, cardiologist, like I had them all.
Hmm.
And I went to a new to me rheumatologist who said, "Oh, there's this medication I'd like to give to you, but I don't think your endocrinologist is going to like it, so I'm not going to do it."
Hmm.
And I'm a very conflict avoidant person. So I was like, okay. But then as I was driving home, I started to get really mad. And I was like, well, wait a minute. First of all, aren't you both doctors? Don't the two of you talk to each other? And the answer, of course, is no, they
Right.
don't, unless you force them to. And the second question is, why are you going to tell me something you're not going to do? What does that do? How
Correct.
does that help me?
Yeah.
And then a couple days later, I had a brand new to me cardiologist. And I was thinking because he was new to my care team, he was going to want to hear my whole story. So I was like all excited. Somebody was going to listen to me. And I got into his office and I'm talking to him. And about, I don't know, 5, 10 minutes in, he goes, Mrs. Dessy, you are getting older. I was 42 years old. And this
God.
man was willing to consign me to a sofa for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And like that was it. And I have shared this story before. Like I still send silent apology to whoever answered that phone, but I called my insurance company and I read the riot act to the woman who answered the phone.
Yeah.
And I know her only job was to answer. Like she wasn't really in charge of anything, but
Right.
I was furious.
Right.
And so we just wound up having this conversation where I got an executive checkup at the Cleveland Clinic. And that kind of changed my life because I saw what would happen when doctors actually worked together. And I was also validated because they asked what I thought, how I felt, and they basically encouraged me to be a more active participant in my own healthcare. And that was the beginning of reclaiming everything and taking back
Yeah.
my health.
Very good. And one last thing you said, it was more than there was a downward spiral. And
Mhm.
that's the one thing, I think when we try to fix something, we don't, and we want it now, we don't give credit to how long it took for it to get bad.
Yeah.
And it's the opposite. Kaizen works in the opposite too. One
Yeah.
incremental bad thing after another adds up over time to yield real big badness. Uh,
Yeah.
so All right, Miro, this is great so far. Let's take a commercial break so our sponsor can spread a little love with our audience. If you have more ideas than actions, if you have more promises than change, if you're ready for the life you are meant to live, then TI2A is the book for you. And we're back, and this is the Something Significant Show, and I'm your host, Matt Gersper. And my special guest star today is Mira Dessy, the ingredient guru. She's the founder of The Kitchen Table, author of The Pantry Principle, and host of the Preparedness Pantry Masterclass, and a popular public speaker and a board certified holistic nutrition professional who's been working with clients for over a dozen years. Mira mentors functional wellness practitioners to help them grow their practice and to enjoy less stress and have more success doing the work they love. Mira says it's not just what you eat, but it's what's in what you eat. Oh, Mira, I love that. And I think you're going to love this article I found on livescience.com. It's called The Science Behind the Power of Giving. And it says the act of giving itself can be a gateway to discovering your reason for being on the planet. It tells how science supports the idea that giving one's time, talents, and treasures is a powerful pathway for discovering purpose and overcoming difficulties and finding fulfillment and meaning in life. So I've updated the formula. Power plus purpose plus giving equals really happy. So what do you think, Mira?
I love it. I
Has-
do. You know, I have to say, it is so amazing when I work with people, and because I do work with clinical practices, but I also work with consumers one-to-one to help them. And there is nothing better than having someone come to you having so many health challenges, feeling like they haven't been heard, they're really overwhelmed. And then we start working together, and all of a sudden they say something like they called me and go, I've just had my first normal poop in 2 years. And like, that's an amazing thing. If that hasn't happened for you before, if you're not having a normal poop every single day and there's something wrong with your gut, but if it's been out of whack for years, and then all of a sudden you're having that is so incredible. Or I had one young woman that I was working with who had massive migraines to the point where she was in danger of losing her job. And she came to work with me, and in the process of doing that, we not only helped her get to a point where she was migraine free, she wound up having so much energy and losing weight and feeling great, wound up getting a promotion at work. And when I saw her a couple of years later, we just happened to run into each other, and she said, oh my gosh, it's so funny. People come to my house and they're like, you have no soda, you have no junk food. Like, what do you eat? And she's like, real food. And I'm like, yes. Like, I helped inspire somebody. And now she's got two beautiful children of her own, and they're growing up learning how to eat well to support their body. Like, that is such a powerful ripple effect. It's unbelievable.
Yep. And so science tells us that giving to others, as you're doing, helps bring real meaning to their lives. And that feeling that comes from our fourth element of significance, doing work that creates value for others, confirms it.
Yeah.
But there's something more to it than that, Mira. And it's something I can feel deep in my spirit. And I believe that it's when you're giving from living in your purpose, that's where you find the real magic of life. And so the audience and I would like to experience how it makes you feel to be happily living your life and giving to others through the work God put you on this planet to do. And the people all around you have taken notice. So my dear friend, please sit back, open your heart, and have a listen to what people are saying about the impact you're making on their lives by finding the magic of giving from living in your purpose. One person simply said, Mira is absolutely incredible. Another called you a quiet giant who often hides behind the curtain, offering her powerful insights and cutting-edge solutions through other health professionals. Others said she's a powerful leader in the health space, a world-class expert on understanding ingredients in food, household, and personal care products. Her heart is ginormous. Her knowledge base is just as big. She is a resource to the who's who of world changers, a friend, a mentor, a collaborator, selfless, thoughtful, caring, passionate, determined, ever inspiring, compassionate, resilient, giving beyond compare, kind, honest, a real gem, a very generous woman with a great heart. Honestly, I'm simply drawn to her. A true example of a servant heart. I'm so blessed to have Mira in my life. I love her book, The Pantry Principle. Mira inspires others to take control of their health through nutrition. She's on a mission to change the world. And finally, this person said, Mira has touched our hearts and we are grateful. So Mira, how does all that love make you feel?
I'm overwhelmed. Wow, Matt. I don't know who you talked to, but that's amazing. That, I think sometimes doing the work that myself and other holistic practitioners do feels a little bit like shouting into the wind, because often we're in a community where maybe there aren't a whole lot of us. And so we get together only at conferences once or twice a year. And the Yiddish word for it is verklempt. I'm feeling a little verklempt right now. That's amazingly kind for you to reach out to people like that and for them to respond in that way.
Well, that's what this show is all about, Mira. It's finding that magic in each of our lives, and it's available for each of us. At least that's what I believe. And it comes from this great big happy circle. Giving your time and talents and treasures is a powerful pathway for discovering your purpose. And then giving from living in your purpose brings a profound joy to your life, but also to the lives of those around you. It seems that giving leads to purpose, and giving from purpose leads to joy. So to truly capture the exponential power of our happy formula, Mira, I've got to tweak it just a little bit more. To power times purpose times giving equals happy to the third power. And that's really, truly, deeply happy. And even my puppy agrees. Does that sound about right to you, Mira?
It sure does, Matt.
Good, good, good. Okay, let's wrap things up with the lightning round. I love the power of words and the capacity. Piper, come here. Shush. Power of words and the capacity for great quotes to change lives. So I'm going to read a few of my favorites, and have you tell us what they mean to you. Give us the first thing that comes to mind, Mira, because we call this a lightning round. So here we go. The first is from the master, Jack LaLanne. Exercise is king, nutrition is queen. Put them together and you've got a kingdom.
Wow. Could you repeat that again? That's so powerful.
Exercise is king, nutrition is queen. Put them together and you've got a kingdom. Mr. Jack LaLanne.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the things that resonates in that is all too often we tend to focus on one thing or another. Like as humans, we want everything in these nice, neat categories. But when you put things together, the way it amplifies is so powerful. So I think that's what that means to me, to remember that we are more than just linear or segmented. We are holistic health beings. And when we put all the pieces together, it amplifies into something really powerful.
Yeah, very good. Decades later comes a similar quote from Mark Hyman. You can't exercise your way out of a bad diet.
Oh, very true. And I think one of the things that I love about that is it's encouraging people to remember that it's not supposed to be a diet, it's supposed to be a lifestyle. And part of a healthy lifestyle includes all aspects, all the pillars, sleep and exercise and mindfulness and food and exercise and all of the pieces.
Yeah, I'm no scientist, but I learned a long time ago when I started Happy Living and started talking to smart people like you in the health and wellness field, is if you've got a good diet going on, you got a good exercise program going on, and then you miss your schedule and you get so upset because you couldn't exercise or because you couldn't get good food or whatever, and you're going berserk with upset, you're creating badness inside your immune system just as if you ate a Big Mac. Right. So it's a balance of everything, including your emotional and your physical and your spiritual. The whole shooting match has to be tended to.
And I would also add to that to remember, again, we are always in a state of flux. And so there are certain areas of our life that are going to be more out of range than others. And it's about being open to possibility and looking to see what needs our attention. It's not, I've come to learn that it's not about balance, it's about flow.
Good, good. All right, this is something you've done amazingly well. It comes from Paul Hawken. He said, go deep in a specialty, get a customer, make them happy.
Yeah, and it's so funny because when I was younger, I used to pride myself on being a jack of all trades, master of none. I had broad knowledge across so many different things. And it occurred to me not that long ago that there's so much that I don't know anymore because so much of my brain is really delving deep into what I love and what I believe is my purpose in order to help support people so that they can have a healthy and vibrant life.
Yep, get into your purpose and get out of everything else.
Yeah.
This is from Hebrews chapter 13, verse 2. It says, do not forget to entertain strangers, for by doing so, some have unwittingly entertained angels.
I love that. And I guess my philosophy on that is try to always be kind and lead with the heart because you never know what somebody else is going through.
Yeah, yeah. This is from Rumi. He said, if you put your heart against the earth with me, in serving every creature, our beloved will enter you and from our sacred realm, and we will be so happy.
And that speaks to the interconnected web to which we all belong, to remember that it's not just a hierarchy, it truly is a web and all things are connected. And we need to be respectful of that and to be open to that instead of trying to claim dominance over any other thing or process in life.
Very good. Finally, Mira, this is our show anchor from Goff. He said, whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now.
And I think for me, when I hear that, it reminds me that there was at that point where I not only was on the path to reclaim, as I began to reclaim my own health, my friend Helene Purdy had given me a book that kind of rocked my world because it mentioned artificial colors, and I was like, what? And I then began to change my diet, got to a certain point where I said to my husband, I've taught myself everything I can. I think I need to go back to school.
Yeah.
So I went to school, became a certified nutrition educator, and I really was still what I thought on a path to support myself and maybe my family, but there was like this invitation in front of me to help others. And so I think part of it is being open to accept those invitations that come in front of us and to just trust. It's a little leap of faith that sometimes takes your breath away, but is totally worth doing.
Yeah, that's where when you're getting those messages, that's coming from somewhere
Yeah.
spiritual, and if you listen to them, oftentimes it's going to take you to a place that was unexpected, but where you're meant to be, and
Yeah.
clearly it happened for you.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, folks, now it's your chance to be a giver too. If you can hear my voice and you were inspired by today's show with Mira Dessy, the ingredient guru, won't you please share a little love with our wonderful broadcast team by giving what you can to WITV7? They're a 501c3 charity on a mission to educate, empower, and encourage. They do good works with your kindness. Mira, I love your kitchen table concept of pulling up a chair, gathering in, and sitting together at the kitchen table to encourage others to take control of their health through nutrition. And I admire your desire to help people understand the health-related impact of the ingredients in their food, household, and personal care products. And I'm super happy that you've shared your kind-hearted, passionate, quiet giant spirit on our show today. Will you please take a minute or two and share any parting remarks you'd like to leave with our audience?
I really want to encourage people to remember this is not an all or nothing journey. This is about starting where you are with what makes the most sense for you. You don't have to do something just because someone else is doing it. Like, do what is going to work for you to support your life journey and what's going to help you have a happy, vibrant life.
Yep. Very good. Well, all right. I also want to thank WITV7 for hosting and promoting our show, so we can keep interviewing inspiring guest stars like Mira and reaching folks just like you, ready to create your own extraordinary lives. This is the problem that's been making all the noise here. And
Oh, it's so sweet.
most especially, thank you, viewers and listeners. You'll find links to social media and all things Mira Dessy. Find her, friend her, join her community, read her blog, shop her store, check out all her courses, and get a special offer to join her kitchen table today and enhance your journey to holistic well-being and preparedness. It's all at theingredientguru.com. That's all one word, INGREDIENTGURU.com. One more time.
The ingredient guru.
With the
With the
ingredient
in there. Yeah, the is very important.
Got to put the in. All the ingredients have to be there.
That's true.
Okay. And from me to you, dear friends, I love you. And I want you to be really, truly, deeply happy too. So go to happyliving.com right now and take our happy quiz, because measuring your happy helps you focus your attention on it. And focusing attention on it attracts change and learning and improvement, all to flow right into your life. And once you take the quiz, and it only takes a minute, then give some thought about what we can do together, you and me, to improve the happy of your world, one person at a time. Till next time, I'm Matt Gersper and Piper. You are awesome. And this is the Something Significant Show.